Well, joining me now from Sao Paulo is Valeska Martins. She's on Lula da Silva's legal team at Teixeira Martins and Advogados. Thanks so much for joining us, ma'am. When people read that former President Lula is a defendant in 5 separate corruption trials, they ask, is Lula corrupt? So is he?
No, he's not, and his innocence will be proven effectively in all procedures. Lula is a victim of lawfare with frivolous accusations, and as I've already proven in the first of the 5 procedures, when 73 witnesses were heard, 27 of which were accusation witnesses, and all of them cleared Lula. All of the documents already clear Lula of any wrongdoing. So his innocence will be proven, and we will fight all the end to prove it.
When it seems as if the courts might rule against 3 former presidents, that says democracy, doesn't it? It smacks of democracy. It says nobody is above the law. Even if you were the most powerful person in the country, the courts will still go after you if you were corrupt.
Well, if you were corrupt, yes, they should go after you. If you're not corrupt, they should not go after you. And this is Lula's case. Lula has always been the president that fought corruption in Brazil. He's the one that empowered the federal police. He's the one that gave independence to the federal prosecutor's office. Lula is the one who instituted the transparency portal. He was the one who gave independence to the agency specialized in fighting corruption. Therefore, Lula will prove that he's not above the law, but he's not beneath the law. He deserves the compliance of the law to its full extent. And if judged by an impartial judge, he will be found innocent.
When Marcelo Odebrecht, the former CEO of Odebrecht, which was found guilty of widespread bribery, claimed that the codename friend in the company's bribe list was referring to Lula, why do you think he said that? Was he lying?
I think after 2 years of being in prison, I think, yes, you will say anything to get out of prison. You will even follow a script by the federal prosecutor's office. He said he thought he was the friend. He doesn't prove it. He doesn't say he ever talked to him. He doesn't say anything that could implicate Lula in wrongdoing. He gives no evidence whatsoever of Lula's wrongdoing.
Do you think that the same people who are going after Lula da Silva are the ones who went after Dilma Rousseff and impeached her?
Yes, I believe they are actually very intertwined because it is, after all, what they stand for. It is the Brazil of the federal constitution of '88, the social state, an independent state, a state of pride, a state of economic growth, a state where oil is preserved, it is served to the people, it is applied investment for education, for healthcare. So I believe, yes, they are actually the ones going after Lula and filing the frivolous lawsuits. It's against a whole plan of what Lula stands for.
President Temer is also named in the corruption list, but he has temporary immunity because he's the president. How do you feel about that? Well,
I'm not aware of the allegations against President Temer. I have not read the files. As Lula's lawyer, what I'm concerned and I want to express is that Lula is innocent, and he has always made it very clear that he will prove his innocence in any courtroom, and he will go and testify before any judge and clarify any accusations brought against him.
If he's cleared, does he want to run for president again?
At this point, I think it's premature to say that he wants to run. Of course, the latest polls put him in first place, even to win in the first round of any election, first or second round of any election. He always made it clear that if time comes and he needs to stand up for the project of Brazil, he believes and he will run. But it's premature at this point.
It sounds as if that is a yes.
Well, if, again, as he says, if he believes that in 2018, the project of Brazil that he stands for, the project of Brazil that he fought for all of his 40 years of public life is in threat, yes, he said he will decide to run, yes.
Just for absolute clarity, I just want to ensure he hasn't ruled out running for president again.
No, he has not. He has not.
The Supreme Court,
he will come to run in 2018 if
Please continue.
I'm sorry. If he feels that the project is threatened. Okay, no, please, you go ahead, please.
I want to ask you about the Supreme Court. Do you trust the Supreme Court?
Absolutely, we trust the Supreme Court. We have taken Lula's violations against his human rights to the UN before its Human Rights Committee, because our appeal system did not present itself to be effective against Lula's violations, or in terms of repairing it, or even stopping the violations from occurring. But we have absolutely certainty that once the Supreme Court analyzes the case in the future, it will see that Lula's violations occurred and Lula is found innocent.
Let me ask you about Sergio Moro, who was, of course, dubbed Super Moro by many who support him, the federal judge who initially was in charge of the car wash inquiry. Why do you believe he was impartial? Or he was not impartial? What's your problem with him?
Well, we don't have a problem with him. We actually, it's very objective in terms of legal matters. He has shown to violate all of the codes of ethics of our magistrature. He has violated the codes of ethics of the Bangalore Code of Conduct from the UN. He has appeared in book launches where Lula is portrayed as being involved in a corruption scheme. He has been he let people photograph him with opponents, political opponents of Lula. And in order for you to be an impartial judge, you also have to give a perception of impartiality. Not only that, there's a legislative problem in Brazil. So the judge investigating and collecting the evidence, therefore involved in with the federal police, with the prosecutor's office in the investigation in Brazil, is the one who then is presiding the judge. But not only does he preside the trial, but he is actually the one alone to judge the merits of the case. Therefore, only this objective failure of legislation, which is inquisitorial, will lead to a lack of impartiality.
Ma'am, it's a pleasure talking to you, and it's been great getting some insight into what you think and, of course, what the former president, Lula da Silva, thinks. Thank you very much for joining us, Valeska Martins.